So, we have started our discussion on a specific programming language, that is C, and once again I repeat that a C program will be constituted of some valid words of the C language, just as an English sentence must be constituted with valid English words. Similarly, for C, and must be every language has got a grammar. So, C has got a very strict grammar, and any statement that is written in C that is not adhering to that grammar will not be accepted by the compiler. The compiler will reject it, saying that it is a syntax error or grammatical error. Okay. So, before going further into discussions on C, briefly let us look at the history of C. It was originally developed in 1970 by Dennis Ritchie, all right, and his book I have also referred to you, at AT&T Bell Labs, and it became very popular by the mid 1980s because it was the compilers. Now, a computer language cannot be popular, cannot be used unless there is a compiler for it. So, it took some time, although it was developed in 70s, but many compilers for different platforms, for workstations, for PCs, for different platforms were made available by mid 1980s, and this became very popular, and there were some standardizations that also took place. Now, given that let us look at the structure of a C program. Let us look at the structure of a C program here. Every C program will consist of one or more functions. One of the functions will be given the name main, which is the function. Now, in the last lecture I said that there should be at least one function. If nothing else is there, even if the program is so simple that I do not need any submachines, in that case I can do it with only one simple function, and that function has to be named main. And if there be a number of say for example, number of functions or submachines, in that case also there has to be one program which has to be called the main, and the rest can be given some other names. The program will always begin by executing the main function. So, once again let us go to the diagram that we had used in the last lecture. Say I have got a program which has got only one function, very simple, then this function will be called main, and no other sub functions are there. It will take some inputs, whatever the inputs are, it will process that, and the output will be made available. Okay. Now, suppose I have got two submachines required for this, one here and after that another one. So, this submachine will do something, then this submachine will do, and then will come out, and this is the output, and there is some input coming in here. These are the inputs, and there are some submachines, but I have got one machine which is the main. This is again the main. So, although I am taking help of the submachines, I have to first enter the main function, and then from the main function I can enter here and go somewhere else, and ultimately I will have to come out through the main function. So, we cannot escape the main function. Okay. So, the main will be there, and typically we write the main, any C body, within two curly braces. Here whatever I am drawing as a diagram, that is equivalent to these two curly braces. Inside this, whatever is written is a C program. Whatever I write here, whatever C program I want to write, I have to write within these two curly braces. I will come back to this in a moment. So, there has to be one function called the main, and the program will always begin by executing the main function. Each function must contain a heading which consists of the function name followed by something application, say followed by an optional list of arguments. I will explain that later. Okay. Let us again come back to this, that I have got a function, I have got a program which has got one function whose name is main, and I have got another function whose name is, say, add, and there is another function whose name is find, is it readable, find average, or let me this is a little confusing, let me rename this. I name it as divide sum. Take the example of our simple finding average, all right. I want to find average. So, what are the subtasks? One is I have to read the numbers, say read, say ABC. That reading, suppose I am doing here, this read ABC is here 1. After that, I am doing add ABC. Say adding ABC is being done by this submachine, say, and therefore, I have to give a name to this submachine, that this submachine is inside the body of this submachine. I will actually do the addition, but the name of the submachine should be expressive of what this submachine or the function is supposed to do. Similarly, after I do that, then I divide sum, right. I will divide sum by 3, by whatever 3 here in this case. So, that is being done by this submachine. This is too simple, these are two simple submachines, but this is being done by this submachine. So, each of them has to be given some name, each of the functions including main has to be given some name. Now, along with that there is another point that has been mentioned here, that is the argument. Each of these functions must have a place where I can write the arguments. Right now, I am not writing anything on main, but say when I say what are these arguments, if I just consider this separately, all right, any function separately, any function if I consider separately, now this function will have some inputs and some outputs. What are the inputs and what are the outputs? Suppose the name of this function is my function. Then this function will have some arguments which are given within this parenthesis, and suppose these are a and b are two variables which are read by this, and c is a variable that is output by this. So, the name of this function should be associated with the names of the variables which are taken as input or is supplied as output by this function. These are called arguments. We will come to this when we discuss some other very important properties of functions, but for the time being just remember that a function must have a name and there should be some place for writing the arguments. Often you will find that a function like main, suppose I am writing a function which will simply print a particular line. So, then inside the body of the function I just want to print or say print my name is something something whatever. So, my name, just say my name. Now, this function whenever it is entered, it will just print my name, it is not requiring any values to be passed, but still then I will have to put this parenthesis with the name, although I may keep the inside of this parenthesis blank. So, a function, in order to be a valid function in C, there is a C rule that in order to have a valid function, a function must have a name and a place for the arguments. So, a function heading is the function name, all right, followed by an optional list of arguments enclosed in parenthesis like this. This is optional because it can be blank, and these are the things that there will be some argument declarations etc. will come to this particular part later. But before that we have to understand a compound statement. What is a compound sentence? Say simply in English, if we consider, you know that a simple sentence has got only one principal verb, principal finite verb. However, I can have a compound sentence like a boy went to school and his father was happy, say. So, here there are two sentences, his father was happy and a boy went to school. These are two simple sentences and we are connecting them with an and here, all right. So, this is a compound sentence. Similarly, we can have complex sentence and all those. Here the idea is similar, but not exactly the same. I am saying that a function is a machine which has got a name like say add and some parameters a, b, c, a, b and the third parameter is sum. That means, it will take a as input, b as input and will produce sum. But here I write a number of C statements. A number of C statements are written over here. Each of these C statement is a statement and all these together forms a compound statement. Whenever we find more than one C statement working together, that will be a compound statement. So, here the entire function add will be, if it consists of a number of statements, then it is a compound statement. In the default case, in the very trivial case when the program consists of only one statement, then also we can call it a compound statement, but with only one statement. So, next each compound statement is enclosed within a pair of braces like this. This is called braces This is called parenthesis and this is called braces, right. The braces may contain combinations of elementary statements, a single one, or other compound statements. Okay. Now, once again let us see, till now I was drawing the machine as this, right. I was drawing it as a rectangle. Now, I will move towards more towards C. So, I will say that this boundary will be specified in C as this sort of boundary. Whatever is here is within this parenthesis. Now, each of this braces, I mean inside these braces, we will have some statements. It can be an elementary statement like say A assigned 20 or maybe more number of statements. Now, each of the C statements are delimited by a semicolon. This is very important, this you must remember. Each of these are delimited by semicolon. If I do not write the semicolon, the sentence is not completed. Just like in English, we have to write a sentence and we have to complete it by a full stop, right. It rains, very simple sentence, it rains and then there is a full stop here. Similarly, in C, the end of one single elementary statement or a set of statements is pointed out by semicolon, all right. Otherwise, it will be ambiguous, there can be a problem, like for example, if I write A 20 B 15, okay, and I forget the semicolon. If I am writing one after another because that is nice to write one after another, but if I write them side by side, that is also equivalent. But if I put semicolons here, the compiler will understand that this is a one statement, this is another statement. But if I do not give the semicolon here, for example, I write A 20 B 15, then the compiler will be in a problem because it does not know what it is supposed to assign 20 or 20 B or whatever. Is it possible to assign 20 B? Many things will come. So, we must be very careful about completing the statements with semicolon. Okay. So, the braces may contain combinations of elementary statements and other compound statements. Now, there is another very important thing called comments. Whenever you write programs, you must be generous of writing comments. Now, what are these comments? Comments are statements which are not converted by the compiler to machine language, but then why do we write it? The reason is that whenever we write a complicated or a large enough program, the presence of the comments enables us or enables, suppose I have written a program, it will enable somebody else to understand the program. So, if I write something like say, I am not going to a complicated example as yet, I am remaining with that finding the average of the numbers, but suppose I am doing it in 2 steps, all right. Say I am writing, I am just doing something like A assigned 20, B assigned 15, sum assigned A plus B, and then C assigned 25, sum assigned sum plus C. Now, when I write this, somebody may, this is rather too simple, but somebody may say what am I doing here? At both the places I am doing sum. So that somebody else does not get confused, I can write something like this. Let me just check the syntax here. Yes, I was right. So, what is happening? So, I can write, say, A assigned 20, B assigned 15, note the semicolon that I am putting after every statement, sum is equal to A plus B, A plus B, and here I can put in a comment, say adding first two numbers. I am ending this with this symbol. This is again, I am doing a bad job here. Say I write numbers and then I put this sort of symbol. So, here you see I put here this and here the reverse this. Whatever I write in between, that is assumed by the compiler to be a comment statement. So, the compiler need not convert this into machine code. So, here again I can write later, say C assigned 25 and sum equals sum plus C. Now, I can explain that adding whatever I want, I can write in any form, adding third number to sum and put this. Now, I am sorry, here always I am making, I am not being able to manage the space. It should be there should be a space in between. So, I will have to write the third number to sum and I put this end of comment. Now, this part will not be compiled. So, for any program when we write, as the program becomes more and more complicated, we should be generous about writing the comments that will also help us. Say you have written a program today and you want to look at it after say 1 month and see what you did, such comments will be helping you to understand what you did, or somebody else of course to understand what you did, right. So, for examples, let us see here I have got a simple thing A assigned B plus C. So, here you see add two numbers between these two, this and the end of comment is this, all right. Okay. Now, let us look at a simple C program therefore. Now, this part I will be explaining separately, but before that let us look at this part of the code. It is a very simple program, simplest possible program. What it does? It simply prints our first look at C program. This line as is will be printed, as is will be printed. Where will it be printed? this will be printed on the screen or on the printer or on some other file. Where will it be printed? Here we are writing another statement hash include stdio.h. This stdio.h means standard input output, std for standard. So, it is stdio is standard input output. Now, if nothing is specified, then the standard input is our keyboard. By default, it is the keyboard, and the output by default is the screen. So, when I write this, then when I write printf, that means this line will be printed on the screen. Okay? That is the meaning of stdio.h. Now, this single piece of simple program has got many things to illustrate. This term hash include is an instruction to the compiler that you need not convert it to the machine language, but before you convert the program to the machine language, please do this. What is doing this? Please include stdio, the standard io.h. Now, what is this stdio.h? In order to understand this, you have to know what a library is. Now, any programming environment provides you with a library of functions. C provides you a library of functions. Okay. Now, this library of functions and library of other packages, which are library of functions or codes, let us see, that is already there. Now, so I am going to write a program here, and here there is a library, and in that library there are many things here, all right, and one such thing is stdio, and all these libraries files have got an extension .h. Why that is, that we will see later. Now, when I am writing this part of the program, if I say hash include within this corner brackets stdio.h, that means whenever I am writing this program, whatever program I have written, that will be converted to the machine code, that will be ultimately converted to the machine code. While doing that, before doing that, this stdio part must be included, or some of the information must be included, that will tell me that, well, you see, whenever you are doing this printf, that printf will have to be done on standard output. And what is that standard output? The printer. It is the printer. Okay. So, that is the purpose of hash include. There is a pre-processing statement, compiler pre-processing statement. Now, I had said that every language has got some of its own vocabulary. Now, in English, you understand, whenever I write print or write, these words carry meaning to you in English. In C, we write it as printf. This is a special word of C. Okay. Why this f? That is a meaning for that. That is, in C, wherever we write, we consider that as if we are writing in a file, say in your office or in your work desk, whenever you write something, you write it on a piece of paper and put it in a file. In C, we consider every input or every output device to be a file, okay? And this F stands for file, as if I am printing on the file. Which file? The printer file. Okay? Then the next class we will start with this and will describe some of the other Hebrew like statements here, which will from which we will go ahead. Okay? Thank you.